Welcome to this training session on orchestrating your external manufacturing with Mint. First, I'm going to give an intro to supply chain management workflows. Then we'll take a look at the external manufacturing orchestration with the information flow, product flow, and financial flow. When we look at an end-to-end supply chain, there are three flows that are always present: product materials service flow, the flow of information, and the flow of finance. For material, this typically flows one direction from upstream to downstream, raw materials to finished goods. Each partner in the supply chain experiences flows of materials. From raw materials to finished goods, products move downstream to their final point of consumption, stopping many times throughout their life cycle. Material, however, can flow upstream in the cases of a return, recalls, damages, wrong product. Information flows both upstream and downstream. It can be argued that information is the foundation of a supply chain. Without it, the supply chain is not optimized for success. Everyone must communicate information for their partners to execute. Last but certainly not least, finance. Everyone in the supply chain is compensated for their part in the orchestration. Every customer pays a provider for services rendered. This can include the product itself, value-added service like packaging and labeling, storage of the product, and delivery of the product. Each of the orchestration subgroups can have overlap in personnel and shared data. It's very important to remember that many of the supply chain processes rely on data and action from other places for things to work smoothly. We encourage each organization we collaborate with, internal teams and partners, to not only grasp their internal orchestrations, but also understand those of their supply chain partners. External manufacturing can be a complex orchestration, as are others you will encounter. The complexity, however, stems from the lack of visibility to the data that needs to be moved between entities at various times. When exchanging with your manufacturing partners, you want as much transparency as possible. From the forecast being accurate and agreed upon, down to timely procure to pay, visibility with the CMO ensures that MEH knows that what is ordered will be available and delivered on time. Then the CMO can plan better for their procurement activities, production schedule, and order-to-cash cycles. In external manufacturing information flow, we can reference forecast planning schedule, forecast planning response, batch creation, and inventory report. The forecast plan is an electronic document used to communicate forecasted demand and release schedules for pharmaceutical products between trading partners. It helps align production and distribution plans, ensuring that products are available when and where they are needed, while minimizing excess inventory and stockouts. The buyer sends this to the supplier, outlining their anticipated demand for specific products over a defined period. The supplier uses the forecast information to create a production and release schedule, ensuring they can meet the buyer's demand. As the forecast period moves, demand can shift the initial projections. The buyer can adjust POs up or down based on inventory levels, and the supplier does the same with production schedules. Now the forecast plan response is the step where your trade partner responds to that forecast. The supplier, via the forecast plan response, can inform the buyer of their plan to commit to the forecast, offer changes based on capacity constraints or material shortages, or reject the forecast and request a rework. Forecasting is an iterative process where a miss could mean disaster for the buyer and supplier. With an effective forecast plan response, you can align supply with demand by ensuring realistic commitments based on available resources, prevent disruptions by identifying potential material shortages before production begins, improve collaboration between MEH and CMO, enabling proactive decision-making. The next two transactions we'll look at provide inventory insight. Once the forecast plan response is reviewed, the next step is to translate that demand into actual production. This brings us to batch creation, where we define how products will be manufactured based on forecasted needs. Batch creation data captures critical information such as batch number, production date, expiration date, ingredients, quality control results, and storage conditions. Suppliers use the batch creation information to verify product authenticity, check expiry dates, and ensure compliance. This data also helps track and manage inventory at the batch level. Additionally, where there is a recall or quality issue, the data here is critical for quarantine and root cause analysis. Buyers leverage this data for similar reasons, with focus on quality control and facilitating recalls. After batches are created, maintaining an accurate inventory balance is crucial for smooth operations. The inventory balance is a two-way communication channel for exchanging information about on-hand inventory levels. The buyer or supplier can initiate this transaction to inquire or inform. The inventory balance provides real-time insights into raw materials, WIP, and finished goods. Why does it matter? Because missing stock or unnoticed surpluses can disrupt production. With that in mind, let's think about our scenario. You don't have to answer this, but just think about the benefits of inventory insights and how this carries forward from the forecast planning. So far, we've covered some key supply chain transactions, but how do you see this in the Mint user interface? The menu items on the left control based on the roles assigned to a user. Users typically have roles linked to a specific orchestration and perspective, allowing them to create, view, and interact with only those transactions. There is also a special role that provides a list view of all B2B transactions. This broader access is useful for administrators or monitoring personnel who need full visibility across all transactions. The roles can either have full access to create and edit or have view-only permissions. This flexibility allows team members to collaborate effectively while maintaining control over sensitive information. By assigning appropriate permissions, you can ensure that everyone has the access they need to perform their tasks efficiently. This is how all the B2B transactions will look with the All Transactions Owner admin role. This allows you to view all B2B transactions in a list view. Think of this as your control panel, giving you a complete overview of transactions. In the following demo slides, we'll see how to navigate to this view and manufacturing orchestration view. Click the main menu icon, select My Networks. Click the Network drop-down, select Mint External Manufacturing Orchestration. Click Go. Expand All Transactions menu. Here's the overview of all ongoing B2B transactions like ASN, delivery, invoice, purchase order, etc. Expand the manufacturing customer from the side menu. Select Forecast Plan from the side menu. To view the details of the desired forecast plan, click the link. Here are the forecast plan details. We are now looking at the partner's screen, in this case Renderico. We can see that they have received Medavonic's forecast plan. Now if we click the link to the forecast plan, the details page opens. Partners will be able to create forecast plan responses from this page. Now onto the product flow. In the external manufacturing product flow, we can reference purchase order, PO acknowledgement, inventory update, and advance ship notice. We won't spend too much time on each of these, as they're mostly very common transactions that you probably exchange every day. A purchase order is a formal request sent by the buyer to the supplier to procure goods or services. Of course, we all know what a purchase order is, but maybe your partner calls it a sales order, and they need to match every detail to ensure they fulfill it perfectly. Digitalizing purchase orders with Mint helps you reduce errors that a manual process would cause because the data is properly transformed in and out of the system to ensure consistency. Likewise, with the digitalized PO acknowledgement, the supplier responds to the received PO and can accept it, reject it, accept it with changes, etc. An inventory update is an electronic document used to notify trading partners about adjustments made to inventory levels within a warehouse or distribution center. This is particularly important when accurate inventory tracking is vital for regulatory compliance, product availability, and patient safety. Suppliers will initiate this transaction when inventory levels are adjusted due to reasons like receiving new stock, shipping out orders, damage, expiration, or recalls. Buyers use the information in the inventory adjustment to update their own inventory records, ensuring they have accurate information on product availability. The Advanced Shipment Notice, ASN, is of course exactly how it sounds. It is an electronic document that notifies the buyer about the shipment of goods before they arrive. It typically includes detailed information about the shipment, such as the contents, quantities, expected delivery date, and tracking details. The ASN allows the buyer to prepare for the arrival of goods, allocate resources, for example, dock space and personnel, and verify the shipment against the purchase order for accuracy. This helps streamline receiving operations, reduce errors, and improve inventory management. Let's take a look at this in the UI. We're looking at Customer Owner's page, for example, Medivonic in this case. We can see some of the sent purchase orders to the partner Recount, and if we click the link to it, it will take us to the Details page. The Details page will show us all the details like transaction information, order information, line items, etc. We are now looking at the partner's screen, i.e. Recount. We can see they've received Medivonic's purchase order. Now if we click the link to the PO, the Details page opens. On this Details page, a partner can create a response in the form of a PO AC, invoice, or ASN. And finally, the financial flow. In the external manufacturing financial flow, we see a relationship between invoice and remittance advice transactions. The buyer and seller have already done their part. Products ordered, shipped, and received. Everything's running smoothly. Now it's time for the seller to get paid. An invoice is the formal document that sellers send to buyers to request payment for the goods or services they've delivered. With Mint, invoices are sent directly from system to system. No PDFs, no emails, no manual data entry. This speeds up processing, reduces errors, and ensures payments are made on time. The buyer just made a payment, and now they need to let the seller know exactly what was paid and why. That's what the remittance advice does. It's not just a payment notification, it's a detailed breakdown that clears up exactly which invoices or purchase orders were settled. By digitizing the exchange in Mint, buyers can easily streamline their accounts payables process, while sellers can quickly see which invoices have been paid and for how much. Sellers can reconcile payments faster, identify discrepancies instantly, and keep their accounts receivable on point. To give you a clearer picture of how these processes function in the software, let's walk through some demo screenshots. This is how an invoice is created and processed within the system. Some key elements are invoice number, its date, supplier details, etc. This screenshot shows a remittance advice, which provides payment details for an invoice. Key elements to highlight. Reference number, payment method, indicates whether payment was made via bank transfer, check, etc. Amount paid, payment date and status, confirms when and if the payment was processed. In closing, the end-to-end orchestration of transactions listed provide timely and robust information sharing to ensure the supply chain manufactures goods as needed and in minimal excess. Here are some key takeaways for you. Understand your possibilities. Discover the range of transactions you can leverage to optimize your processes. Identify your priorities. Reflect on which transactions align best with your current needs and goals. Start planning. Begin mapping out how and when to implement these transactions in your workflows. Envision the impact. Consider how streamlining transactions can improve collaboration, reduce errors, and enhance efficiency. Think about the next steps you can take to bring these ideas to life. Where will you start? Thank you for your time watching this training session today. If you have any further questions, please feel free to email tracelinkuniversity@tracelink.com.